What's going on, everybody? David Gravel here. This is the Gravel Show. Sorry it took so long. At the end of the year here, tried to take a couple weeks away and just relax and have some family time. And of course, through the holidays, Levi got sick, got us all sick. So I'll be using a lot of tissues here tonight. Definitely had this cold for a little while, so I got my nose running a bunch and I sound a little weird. So that's why. I appreciate you guys for coming on the show. It's been a while since we've done one, and we got to start it off by thanking our sponsors, Marlowe's Metal Fabricating. He's been a guy that's helped us out from the beginning of the show, so thank you, Donnie, in Dover, Pennsylvania, for that. And just got to thank Houston Speedway, Billion Automotive, Jackson Motorplex, Butler Built Seats, Simpson Racing Products, the PRI show. Really excited to go there next week. And really looking forward to it. So some of the topics we want to talk about. First, I need to recap our season. Our season was just a magical one to be as consistent as we were this year, night in, night out. Just got to thank Cody. Everything he does, the dedication, keeps it simple, stays focused, stays in his world. And not a lot of people do that nowadays. And it's pretty impressive what he's grown to be as a crew chief and being a big role at a big organization. So, got to thank Zach Patterson for being our tire guy, tire specialist for several years now. And he's continuing to do a good job for us. And Pete Stevens, he was first year with us full time. We always call him Big Race Pete. He only came to Knoxville or Charlotte or Kings Royal only when the big lights are on, the big paychecks came. But then he got to go home, and he decided he wanted to come out on the road and spend some time with us. And it's going to give us at least a couple years. So I got to thank Pete and each one of their girlfriends for dealing with being away or just not talking to him enough or whatever. And I got to thank my wife, Jill, and Levi for all they do. And it's a sacrifice what we do, guys. And it's not always pretty. It's not always glamorous, and very, very lucky for what we're doing. But the reason why I wanted to thank everybody like this, the banquet on how the format is years ago, we would just go up to the podium and we would have the stage to ourselves. And I'm sure you guys watched on Dirt Vision, now. You get asked questions. You don't know if Johnny's going to ask you 3 questions, 4 questions, 5 questions, and then the conversation's over. So I definitely didn't get to thank everybody in my interview there, our conversation up on the stage. So, first of all, got to thank Todd, Lisa, Taylor, Andrew, the whole Queering family for, letting us do our jobs. One, giving us a job. And giving us all the pieces to the puzzle to do our jobs at the highest level. So truly appreciate them. And got to thank our sponsors, Houston Speedway, Billion Automotive, Jackson Motorplex. A lot of these I already thanked in the beginning of the show, but, there's a lot more. JRC Transportation, Berryman Suspension, Billion Automotive, I already said, Prosper Real Estate Investments. I don't have a list. I'm going off the top of my head. I'm a little bit out of sync, but, Morrison Racing Engines, Berryman Suspension, Butler Built, Impact Signs. A lot of people make this deal possible, and I got to thank them. Got to thank Bennett Gravy. He was my tire guy, our T-shirt guy. All season long, he drove that thing every single mile, and can't thank for everything he does. Victoria Gravel, my sister, she runs my online merchandise store. So if anything's late, yell at Victoria, don't yell at me. But she does a great job for me. We had a pretty good Black Friday sale, I felt. And we're going to have another sale here before Christmas. So I got to thank Victoria, Bennett, and Carter. He does all my social media stuff, and we got Social Ambassador of the Year again this year. So I got to thank Carter for all he does, and it's a team effort. I used to be able to carry a lot of the load, but when I drove, for other teams, CJB or JJR, I didn't have a lot of the T-shirt trailer responsibilities then, and then when you kind of have a lot of the T-shirt responsibilities, and I had kind of my sister come on the road, or we had Layla for a little while in the t-shirt trailer, and I drove every mile. Like I just was had less time to focus on social media. And in the JJR days, I did my own YouTube channel and did all the GoPro stuff, and um, it was a little bit easier. I had more spare time. But now I'm a homeowner. Now I'm a father. I'm married. Try to get home as much as I can, just way less time. And I thank Carter, Bennett, and Victoria for taking a lot of the weight off my shoulders and be able to live as normal as a life as possible. And it's a true team effort. So I see in the comment section we got comments going on already. And Bennett, no problem, buddy. Jet and Jim, Mary Beasley, you guys are always supporting me. I appreciate it. Terry, Kennendale, we'll see you next year at Kennendale. John Dobbins, you talk about Atomic and the World of Outlaw show. Fish fry, yeah. We'll do a fish fry wherever you want. Come to Attica, come to Eldora, maybe Western PA, maybe Sharon, or maybe when we're in Indiana or Southern Wisconsin. We'll figure out another place. We'll have a new tradition. Cassandra, hi David, how's Jillian doing with the baby? Yeah, so another thing, guys, kind of my slow off season is we're expecting a baby girl here on January 4th, and Jill is doing pretty good. She actually had some health scares about a month ago with gallstones and spent some time in the hospital, but they got that cleared up. And after she has the baby, about 3 weeks later, she's gonna have to get her gallbladder taken out, which is going to be like right around Volusia time. So we're going to, navigate that and see what the best route for that is. But she is doing good. The baby's growing, she's healthy. The baby's healthy. And yeah, everything's going smooth. We've been prepping the baby's room, and obviously you can see decorated for Christmas, and just doing normal guy stuff. John Robbins, thank you, Pat. Thank you. Appreciate it. Chris Murphy, Knoxville. Thank you. Appreciate it. Jim Hanley. How you doing, Jim? We miss you. Hopefully we'll have some more good times up in Oswego. So hopefully Carter is able to pull up graphics and everything now. But, I wanted to recap the World of Outlaw season, maybe with the stats or the point standings, whatever graphic you want to pull up first, Carter. I thought the rookie of the year might have been somebody different this year. I thought definitely Garrett had a shot at it. I thought Cole was maybe the favorite going into the season. Wyndham, I thought he was going to be consistent. I was hoping more out of Hunter Schoenberg. I thought Skylar G and Connor Morell were going to struggle. Just not as much as experience, and then just kind of their team. And Zach Hampton, I thought maybe he would struggle a little bit too, but it was kind of waves of the rookie class, and so cool to have a record amount of rookies in a season. I mean, I think the year I won Rookie of the Year, I was the only rookie, and I think that was the case for a lot of Rookie of the Years in the last 10 years. So very, very interesting, to have that many rookies, and I'm guessing we're going to have a decent amount more rookies next year, but I was really thinking Hunter was going to be consistent. I thought Cole was going to maybe win a couple races. And, Garrett really turned it on at the end of the year. He was by far the fastest rookie. I think Wyndham just, shows that he's a veteran driver, even though he's not a veteran in wing sprint car racing, but kind of that steady Eddie guy, probably 8th through 13th, 14th, a lot of nights. And where Garrett had speed for top fives or made more dashes, and felt like he really separated himself at the end of the year. So congratulations to Garrett for everything he does. And, great first season for him. And I'm not sure why Carter isn't pulling up these graphics, but I'm going to message him quick. From there, I wanted to pull up the stats of the quick times top fives and kind of, reflect on who you thought maybe had a great season or underwhelming season, and go from there. But I guess we will move on to a different topic. I am sad that Beaver Dam Raceway is no longer. 1,000%. Definitely one of my favorite tracks that we went to, and Bummer. Steaks on the menu this year, surf and turf, lots of proteins. Me and Cody are perfect fitness to health. So we definitely like lean protein. Cody he's not a ribeye guy. He likes filet mignon. So, crab legs, lobster, and filet. I think that would be a good night. Jim Jankowski. Yeah, too bad they don't come to Lebanon Valley. I heard Lebanon Valley is going to get some money invested into their racetrack, into their circle track. Don't know if that's true, but Lebanon Valley is just a sketchy place. But man, the New York fans always supported that track and packed the place. So maybe if we ever get back to Lebanon Valley, maybe that will be a DG, promoted World of Outlaw event, because I think that would be pretty cool. Ricky says, best of luck in 2026. Merry Christmas to you and your family. I appreciate it. Glad to see Balog with a good season. Yeah, I would say that's probably the biggest surprise. I think he took a good leap from the previous season to this year, winning, I believe, 3 races. That was awesome. And I felt like he was definitely more consistent. So shout out to him. They have a small team, not a lot of crew guys, and, pretty awesome. Dennis does a great job for them. Shout out to Dennis, and Bill does, a good job setting that thing up every night. Excuse me. Yeah, we're going to talk about earnings, guys. The 26 schedule. We got the graphics for the 26 schedule. The dome. I already seen Mike Marlar ripped his fuel cell off the back of his car in qualifying, and that will be a topic for later. But here's the 2025 recap. We'll do the points here. Buddy really came into his own, as everybody knows, running second. Carson had a lot of DNFs this year. He had part failures, engine failures, really hurt his season. Logan started the season super strong. Felt like kind of just fizzled out later in the year. Sheldon, obviously the last 2 months, different crew chief and things were happening there. So I feel like that's why he fell a decent amount behind Logan, but not a great season for Logan. Donnie, obviously a very underwhelming season for him and TSR, and why they split up. And, the stats aren't going to be very good when he drives, 5 or 6 different race cars in the same year. So, not a good year for him. And, that's one of our topics on, where is he going to race next year? Because everybody's calling me about that topic. Bill Balog there, 1,000 points back in 7th, but 16 top 5s. Not sure what he had last year. But I felt like that was an improvement. And, the disparity in wins is what's insane to me. I felt like in the history of the World of Outlaws, Donnie Schatz would win 20 races, 30 races, whatever it was. But you still have guys like Travis Jacobson winning World of Outlaw races randomly, or maybe more locals in PA that were a surprise, or Chico, you'd have, Shane Golobic won a couple races. It just seemed like this year there wasn't really any surprise winners on the World of Outlaw Tour at World of Outlaw races. You obviously had that one guy that won that high limit race in Wisconsin. That was probably the biggest upset. But, if Jason Sides ran the Outlaws, he still won 1 or 2 or 3 races in a season, or Craig Kinzer would still win 1 or 2 races, where, this year it was just hogged by the top 3 guys. And then it's just insane to me that only 6 World of Outlaw guys that are full-time won races out of 14. Like, to me, that's just insane. I feel like that's probably never happened in the history of World of Outlaw racing. Maybe in the Steve, Sammy, Doug Wolfgang days, maybe. But very, very odd that, obviously Donnie didn't win, but, Garrett or Wyndham or Macedo or Hampton or Schoenberg, like nobody, snuck a win in there. Usually it could take rubber. The track was fast because it rained and it's one lane. But very, very interesting to me that happened, and definitely very, very odd. So that's, I think, covers all the driver points deal. The stats page is just cool to see, but people have already seen it. People already know we had an amazing year, but we're going to talk about money earned. So this is money earned, and the earnings is obviously a big topic with having the World of Outlaws and having the high limit guys, and then having the guys that pick and choose. And this year, it was definitely the most spread out than I've seen it in a while, as far as guys that haven't run traveling series winning crown jewel events, like Macri and Timms. Those are the two that stand out to me, because Macri won Kings Royal and Ryan Timms won that big race at Port Royal, and obviously the Knoxville Nationals. So, Buddy Kofoid, the most gross earnings in a season other than Logan Schuchart winning the million, 833. That's a huge number. I think we got to 790, I think, was our best when we swept the week at Eldora last year, I believe. So 833, that's pretty an amazing number. He won a lot of big races and had a great year. Turned it on. Rico, bagged at 50,000 at the end of the year at high limit, and he won a bunch of money at Skagit. I think 140, 150,000 at Skagit. So, just those 2 weeks alone right there, he's over 200 grand and had a great season. And us with 599, felt like that was just because we were so damn consistent and had a lot of podiums, a lot of seconds, and obviously a lot of wins, but not a lot of big wins. But running third at Nationals, winning at 83,000 at Tulare. And then Larson, at 354 at only 32 races, you double that number, he's at, 700 grand at 64 races. So, he always has big, big numbers. And then Macri, I believe he ran the most races of anybody this year at 79 races at 541. So, great season by him. He took a couple wins away from us, one at BAPS that I remember. Macedo, solid year. He won some regular races, but a lot of DNFs. But I think just showing you how a consistent season you could have in winning races. I think that $400,000 mark is kind of what you could get to nowadays with how much money is out there nowadays. And he didn't, have any big splashes, but, still earned $400,000, which is, awesome. And then Ryan Timms, 15 wins, 467,000. He won about 250 grand between Port Royal and Knoxville Nationals. And what a season. So now I want to show right here. So I think we got 15 guys with the point fund money, which is the next graphic we're going to show. But James McFadden 15th at 151, and we got Buddy at the top, 833. So just pay attention to that, and then we're going to pull up the earnings with points fund money. And this is all via Sprint Car Ratings. They do a great job. They give you a lot of information, and I appreciate all they do. So this is earnings, with point fund money, and this looks a lot different now. Obviously, whoever was 15th is off the list now, but Buddy over $1 million, 1,023,000. Rico all the way up to 954, us at 949. Like that is really, really cool to have 3 guys over $900,000 in earnings in a sprint car. I think that's really, really cool. Obviously, that's never happened in the history of our sport, and it's trending in the right direction, but there's cause and effects to all these things with attendance of races and streaming, and all the money in the sport right now is pretty much because of streaming. If it wasn't for streaming, these dollars wouldn't be as big. So, things that stand out to me, Ryan Timms still 7th in earnings, not committing to a series, and Anthony Macri 5th in earnings, not committing to a series. So just think of how many nights Anthony Macri and Ryan Timms were still home, or their team were home, and the less cost to travel and how lucrative it was for them. You look at guys like down the list, Danny Dietrich, right, 290, and Donnie 292. So you had one guy that didn't race for points and another guy that did. Danny Dietrich spent way less money to earn that 290. So, Danny Dietrich's probably happy with that 290. And Donnie's obviously probably not. So it's a very interesting thing. Everybody always asks, what the best thing to do is. But I feel like if you're a top 3 in points in either series, the high limit guy is going to earn way more money this coming year because of the charter and what the points fund's going to be. So, this year, more of the outlaw guys were at the higher end, and obviously Timms and Macri. But next year, I think it's going to be advantage high limit guys just because their points paying, or whatever you want to call it, their charter paying deal is way closer in pay, and it's going to pay more than the World of Outlaws. So I think combined with, more 100,000 to win races, I think, there's a chance that a World of Outlaw guy might not be in the top two next year, so it's going to be interesting to see. I think, we'll talk about the schedule shortly. But Brian Carter said, "Oh, we're raising the point fund," but we don't know what that is right now. We don't know how much it's going to be for first through fifth or 10th. So he said he's going to raise it roughly $400,000. And I think, by the math that I've run, it's going to be just below probably of what High Limit is paying for next year. But to win, it will probably be the same. But I think in all those other positions, I think High Limit will be a little bit higher. But you also have to think that's World of Outlaws, that's not with tow money added on. And, there's a couple other benefits, but there's benefits on the High Limit side as well with their highest winners. I think get 50 grand or 30 grand to win the most races. And, it's going to be very interesting. I think, a couple things that I would love the World of Outlaws to put pressure on, or, step up on is, Oshweekend, I think, is a weekend that we're going to build this event up. I think the attendance was pretty good at Oshweekend this year. And I think it'll be better next year. It's later in the year, so it's not as early where it could be very cold, but we got very lucky with the weather. So I hope that Oshweekend could be 50,000 or 40,000 win, or even 30 grand, because I think that's an event that the World of Outlaws need to have events that High Limit guys can't come poach. High Limit has lots of races that we can't go to that pay a lot of money, and we just can't get to them logistically. Our races that we have now are on top of each other, and we only get 4 freebies, and the only thing we could do is Eldora. So I feel like it's really important for the Outlaws to create some events that these other guys just can't go poach, because in my opinion, High Limit guys are having their cake and taking their cake and eating it too. So I feel like hopefully the World of Outlaws continue to evolve that way and do some things. I'm really excited to see what Sheldon's going to announce for his 3-day weekend in Ohio. He paid, I believe, 20 grand or 15 grand this past year, and I think he's going to be at least that. So having 3 events later in the year that's going to pay more than a base purse is very, very cool, and appreciate what he's doing. And I think the fans love it too when a driver gets involved in the events. So let's look in the comment section, see what's going on over here. Hi, David. You remember Chase from Williams Grove? Of course, Chase, I remember you. How could I forget you? Poor Racing says, do any drivers get a portion of the World of Outlaw tow money, or does that all go to the car owner? Same with any extras like track offering a $500 quick time. Does that get split by driver and car owner? So tow money, no, goes straight to the teams. Tow money is to pay for hotels, diesel fuel. So I don't know anybody as a driver that's ever got a piece of the tow money. And that's a different thing in the sport now with High Limit with their charter deal is, I don't think many drivers or any of the drivers are going to get 50% of the charter. I think they're going to be probably about 30%. One, because the tow money's involved now, and I think the teams love having that guaranteed money going into the year, what they're going to have. So are drivers going to make more money with the World of Outlaws, or are they going to make more money with High Limit? I don't think anybody knows the answer to that question yet. But if High Limit pays more, it doesn't mean the drivers are going to make more. So I think as a team owner, you have a potential to make more money for sure. But it all comes down to, does somebody sweep Eldora week? Does somebody win Knoxville Nationals? And does somebody sweep Huset's? Huset's is 300,000 to win. And I forget the High Bank Hustle is going to be, I believe, 150, or 125. So, you can win $500,000 the week at Huset's. So that's going to be interesting. The whole split deal with the Dirt Cup, I'm very interested to see what happens with who goes to Dirt Cup and who goes to the High Bank Nationals. High Limit did not schedule an event against there, so really, really curious to see, how that goes. Jet Jim says, unless WRG raises its 4-race limit on non-sanctioned races. Yeah, they're just pretty stern on not wanting to relieve that. And everybody has their opinions. And I think it's, at this point, High Limit schedule is so far away from the Outlaw schedule. When they first did that 12-race deal, a lot of those races were like really close to where we are, where now we can't get to Chico, we can't get to Skagit, we can't get to Port Royal. So there's really not a lot of races that we could even get to. So in my opinion, if you relieve the restriction, it's not like all us outlaw guys are going to go to 20 high limit races or 20 local shows or whatever. I think, the lower tier guys might go to some IRA or MOA races or local Knoxville or local PA races maybe. And then, teams like us, we've only run 3 races of our 4 that we've been given the last couple years. So, for me, I just think it would be nice to relax it for the teams, for the drivers, for the crew chiefs, just so they have an option if they want to use it. And that's just my opinion. Everybody has their reasons. There's business behind it all. But I feel like now there are 2 extremely good options to choose from. So what are you going to do as a series to make it as accommodating as possible for these teams? Because Ryan Timms can be home 80% of the time and do what he's doing and be happy. And Anthony Macri could be happy doing what he's doing. And then, I think you're always going to see the bottom 5 guys from High Limit and Outlaws probably switch a lot, because when you run outside the top 10 in the points, you're not making any money and you're not making good money. And that's not the problem, but you can't pay everybody, right? But the top 10 traveling teams in each series, I say it's worth it for them to do it. The people that are outside the top 10, not worth it. They're probably better off picking and choosing. They still get some tow money from the traveling series if they make a schedule up in the beginning of the year and, maybe be home more, not wear their stuff out. You look at Danny Sams and Connor Morell, those are the 2 that stuck out to me. Danny Sams being out of engines, running a motor 25, 28 nights. Connor Morell, I believe, was out of engines as well, was running motors well over 20 nights. And I know people get excited, and this is a hot take, or this is David Gravel's advice to the sprint car world. If you're trying to do a traveling series with 4 engines, don't even try. It is not worth it. You're going to learn a lot. You're going to spend a shit ton of money. You're going to lose a lot of money. You're not going to have fun. At the end of the season, you're going to be depressed, and you're going to get your butt kicked 80% of the time. And you have to be prepared. And sometimes it's hard to realize how to be prepared unless you do it the hard way. But I think of a guy like Clyde Knipp, a guy that was super unprepared as a driver and a team and trying to do something to fulfill his dream. Well, then his career didn't last very long because they spent so much money trying to do what they did. And then, it all worked out, right? He became a very good crew guy, great car chief, and now he owns a carbon fiber business. But just don't do it. It sounds cool. It sounds like a dream come true. But get your shit ready. Get your 4 engines fresh. Make a nice schedule. And you're going to end up way happier at the end of the season. And hopefully, I think the goal is for you to be getting a spot where a team hires you that is funded enough to run a tour or to run a series, because you just trying to do something and bringing a knife to a gunfight, it's just not going to work out. It's just the way it is. And I applaud everybody that has tried to do and has done it, but I just don't recommend it. And to me, you see people come in and out of the sport because they come in a flash in the pan. They wear their parents out or their sponsors out and they have no money. It dries up and then they're gone. So that's a little hot take. That's a little DG's advice. And, hopefully nobody takes offense to it. But, with how this engine and part world is, we can't get steering gears. We can't get engines rebuilt very fast anymore. They're more expensive than ever. It's just harder than ever to try to do it with very little engines or very little equipment. Just since COVID, there's been all sorts of changes in our industry, and you can never be too prepared. Have you got your one of one trading card? Well, so they made me a extra or my own one of one trading card that nobody else has. But I do not have the one that you could got out of the Series 2 booster box or out of a regular pack. But I have the old World of Outlaws set. I think 2 World of Outlaws sets, and then I got all the cool cards, the gold foil, the red foil, um, first win card. So yeah, trading cards, guys. That's kind of taken up a decent amount of my time this offseason. I've been hunting for cards all over the place, online. So many Black Friday deals. Been collecting, trying to buy collections here or there. Kind of over the course of the year, I've been on Facebook Marketplace looking for stuff. But I was a big fan of the World of Outlaws. Getting that trading card deal going because it's so popular. And World of Outlaws is going to be announcing a new product with the trading card deal, which I think is going to be very, very cool and very up to date. And it just shows like everything's selling out really fast in the first day when they drop. So there's a huge demand for collectibles now, that's for sure. If you look at like Tom Brady, he's opening up card shops all over the country. I believe they're called card vaults. And so many people, famous people, Logan Paul, right? He's into Pokemon cards. There's so many famous people now getting involved in the hobby. If it's baseball, football, basketball, Pokemon, whatever it is, it's huge right now. It's, in my opinion, it's like COVID. Everybody was a crypto or trader or a day trader on Robinhood, and I think now it's trading cards. So many people have got into the hobby. It's at an all-time high. And I think it's a perfect storm for the World of Outlaws to get involved in the trading card deal because it's hot right now and it's addicting too. I get into it. I hear my t-shirt guy Bennett. He's getting addicted to it and trying to collect every card in this new set. So, are you guys in on trading cards or what? Let me know if you do collect. What do you collect? What would you like to collect? Did you guys get Series 1? Did you guys get Series 2? Sorry, guys. 2025 schedule. So, the first time ever, I believe we have Easter weekend off, which, my whole career, we always race on Easter weekend. And that was a topic at the owners' meeting that, was asked, does everybody want to run on Easter weekend or not? And it was really 50-50. For me, I said I was fine with not racing because having a family, missing these holidays, for a long time, I was fine with that. But I do understand the flip side. Um, the flip side of it is if we rain out the first 5 of 10 races, right? So the season's been going on for 2 months because we just race on the weekends and we lose 5, well, we have an off weekend. Well, what if there's a decent race to go to? We only have 4 freebies. You don't want to burn your freebies up that early. But in my opinion, for the mental health of our crew guys and the teams and the whole crew for the World of Outlaws, I think it's a good thing. I think our season is so busy for the summer months. So us being slowed down in the beginning of the year and the end of the year is nice and a little bit refreshing. And I think is good. You see the turnover with the World of Outlaws and employees. You see new faces every year. You see the turnover in the crew guy and the whole industry of sprint car racing. A lot of guys, going back home or going to NASCAR land or whatever. I just feel like it'll make the season more relaxed. I feel like the high limit guys, they had like a 3-week stretch off in the beginning of the year. And, it's probably, not a bad thing. I think they probably enjoyed that. And if they wanted to go race, they could. So, let's see. Did you find a Michael Jordan rookie? No Michael Jordan rookie yet. He's not really on my hit list right now for a rookie card because obviously ones are really expensive, but I do really want a Tom Brady Bowman rookie. If I could get one raw and grade it, cool. If I could find one graded, obviously the Bowman Chrome would be a dream, but those are very, very expensive. Brian Banco, my boy, is the one that asked you to sign his Graveler Pokemon card. Cool, buddy. Yeah, we'll sign anything you need. Adam, always a good fan. Appreciate you. Love my trading cards and managed to get a set of Series 1, including a foil of you and Buddy, but very hard in Australia. That's for sure, man. They're hard to get. Marie still has her Beetle card set. I love the new cards. Collect baseball cards. Very cool. You forgot the best match with racing fans. Hockey. Yep, hockey's a great sport, but sadly, it's just not as popular in the grand scheme of things. I feel like all sports are down, but definitely football's number one in America, and soccer is getting bigger with the MLS, and it's very interesting. I thought Carter had the 2026 schedule up already. I thought he had the graphic, but I think we talked about it already. Let's see. Hopefully, we got a decent amount of people watching. I appreciate you guys coming on, but I'm trying to catch up in the comment section here. Let's see. Love my trading cards and manage this set of Series 1. Yep. Why do you like chocolate milk? Chocolate milk, I have a huge sweet tooth. We have some good chocolate milk back home. Always love Rutter's chocolate milk. And instead of having like a candy bar or Snickers or eating absolute junk after the races, I was like, chocolate milk quenches my thirst and gives me the fulfillment in my sweet tooth. So why not do it? So and it's really been very, very cool to see everybody hop on board and bring chocolate milk. So yeah, the 2026 schedule, you look at it, obviously the Volusias, what's that, 6 races at Volusias to start, and then pretty standard Talladega, Magnolia, Cannondale has been pretty normal. Lawton, we either rain out there or race like once every 5 years, I feel like. Creek County, I do not know anything about Creek County. I haven't heard too much about it, so we're going to have to see what Creek County is all about. Got to do my research there. US 36, seems like we go there every other year. 81, that place is cursed with weather if it's too windy or too cold or whatever. So hopefully, I really like Wichita. They have a great following of fans there. Excuse me, guys. But I-55 is normal. Jacksonville, seems to be on our schedule every year now, and all normal throughout there. Eldora, then we're at Knoxville and Huset's, River Cities, Nodak. So that is in Minot, North Dakota. We used to go there every year. Cool facility. And I'm glad we're going back. So looking forward to that. Hartford, Michigan, another track we used to go to every single year. And we're going back to Michigan. I'm sure the Michigan fans love that. I've had some decent success in Michigan at Hartford too. So Plymouth, Wisconsin, that's a very popular track in Wisconsin. So we're going back there. It was the first time we were there in a long time earlier this year. And we got Knoxville. Then we got High Bank Nationals and Cedar Lake, Wilmot, normal stuff, Attica, Eldora, Oswego for 2. And then obviously I got circled on the schedule, Weedsport 2-day show, track that we've been very, very good at. So really excited to race there for 2 nights. Then we go to BAPS like normal and, hit the Summer Nationals up, and then the Ironman 55, the Nationals, Ogilvie and River Cities, Red River Valley. Then we got 3 races at Huset's, and then we got Belleville. So that's the one that's on the schedule that I got questions about. Obviously, one of the fastest tracks in the country. Facility's not updated. I've seen some crashes there with the Silver Crown cars the last couple years. So I really hope we do some serious due diligence on Belleville. It's very fast. There's a catch fence on the front stretch, and I don't think anywhere else. So, That was my big head scratcher. Dodge City is a real good facility. It's really hot and windy there, but great facility. You know, the track surface kind of struggled because of the weather. But you know, definitely um, you know, not I'm happy we're going, you know, why not? And then, you know, it's kind of on the way to the West Coast, so that's the other big TBA right now. If there's a TBA there, I'm definitely concerned on the West Coast. Um, we're playing Monopoly right now with these two series. You know, High Limit owns the West Coast, and we kind of, you know, we own Knoxville. The Outlaws own Knoxville, and um, it's very interesting. You know, we got pushed out at Tulare. I'm pretty sure we can't go back to Tulare next year, which, in my opinion, is a bummer. So, if we don't get to go to Tulare, where do we go? You know, there's no Hanford anymore. We're obviously not going to Placerville. We're not going to Chico because that's, you know, Brad Sweet territory. So it's going to be very, very interesting. You know, what's going to happen? You know, we're not going to Skagit, you know, because that's High Limit. And, you know, I'm very interested to see what happens. Say hi, Levi.
Hi.
Levi wants to always be getting some attention, huh, dude? He's getting big. How old are you now?
3.
Levi's 3, and then we got baby sister coming soon, right?
Yeah.
You excited?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'm interested to see. I would like us to maybe go to Willamette or Elma or something like that. You know, um, I heard, you know, some of the options for California. So hopefully, um, yeah, hopefully we get to go to some good tracks. I felt like this year we had a good schedule. Tulare, Paris, and you know that Kern County track's maybe not the best, but I felt like that was one of our better West Coast swings. So I don't know. That California deal is a tough deal. I know we need to support our California fans, and Nas has a lot of pull out there in California. So I was sucking your thumb. So we'll see, guys. What's your opinion? What's your opinion about the West Coast? Do the World of Outlaws have to go to the West Coast to be respected? I know people said, oh, maybe they're not a national series. I think Carson Macedo had a big tweet out there that we're not a national series if we don't go to California. But I disagree. But he is obviously very passionate to want to race out in California. So we'll have to see, you know, what happens with that all. Do you think ASCS is a viable stepping stone to make it to World of Outlaws? A viable stone, you know, if you already own 360 engines and you're racing 360s, I think obviously that's the best series and has the most disparity and goes to the most different racetracks. But if you're like want to go 410 racing, in my opinion, you should go 410 racing and do a nice pick and choose schedule, or you could say bye to everybody.
Bye, everybody.
All right, go see mommy. I feel like if you want to race in 410s, I think it'd be better for you to race 40 or 50 410 races than it would be 40 or 50 ASCS races. You know, that's just my opinion. You know, I was on the Drivers Project, and Sam Haferteep says it's a decent amount cheaper to run 360s and 410s, but in my opinion, it's closer than it's ever been between the two, and to me, that's a problem. What about Tulare? You thought World of Outlaws run there? Yeah, I'm pretty sure we're not running there unless a miracle happens. Maybe we push back and we get to go to Tulare. Kelly, no problem. Bennett's a great kid. So the Dome guys, obviously, you see Mike Marlar qualify and gets into the outside wall, and it looks like the rear of his car caught one of the poles and just absolutely freaking ripped the rear end off the car. The rear end was still there, but the tail tank, all the framing, all the bracing got ripped out of the back. So, you know, I seen maybe the Chaz or some other people talking about, oh, could sprint cars race at the Dome? Not on that track. You know, very, very easily is a sprint car flipping out of the park, and look how big the drop off is in the corners with the banking. It looks like it's, I don't know, 10, 20 feet maybe, and that's concrete. So, um, yeah, I mean, it would take a lot of work for Cody to get the track right to race a sprint car, in my opinion. I thought midgets race there good. Just midgets aren't as popular as wing sprint cars, but I'm really skeptical on the track if 410 wing sprint car would be good there. It's really, really tight. So I don't know. Maybe you do a non-wing race and you like do a Mopar Million and all the guys run wing cars, go non-wing or something. I'm not sure, but I think Cody has a lot of reservations to do wing sprint car racing. And, the crazy thing is the Dome wasn't that successful early on. And now it's just the last 3 years. It's been crazy successful, in my opinion, more successful than the Chili Bowl. They're getting more people. I'm hearing these drivers are selling $100,000 in merchandise in the week of the Dome. Like, that's just insane to me. That's way more than sprint car drivers sell the week in Knoxville. So those guys are killing it. Do you have a ride for Chili Bowl? I could have ran Chili Bowl, but I got a baby coming January 4th, so Chili Bowl's right after that, and I declined my options for Australia and Chili Bowl, and just gonna be home and be with the family and help the wife out. Yes, Stephanie, let's go to Ventura and hang out and eat some awesome food. Ventura, I think is just too small for a wing sprint car. I feel like it's smaller than Placerville. Maybe it's not. I haven't been there, but Chet Jim says Big Game has eight engines. Yeah, we have 8 or 9 engines. I think the absolute minimum nowadays is 6 engines to run a traveling series. And I think if you have 6, there's going to be some times where you might be still low on engines as well. So, yeah, you just don't know. Can you go with just a merch trailer to the Dome? Do you have to race to sell merch? That's a good question, but I feel like you need to be a late model driver or at least racing a late model if you want people buying your stuff. I don't know if you'd be that popular if you just went and you weren't racing. But who knows? But maybe if you're Steve Kinser or Donnie Schatz or Sammy Swindell, maybe you would sell really, really well. Colt Hawk says, do you have a desire to run a late model? I would love to try it. I feel like somewhere like Port Royal, Eldora, maybe Charlotte would be a place that would be easier for me to get comfortable and make fast laps. But those tight bull rings like the Dome, I saw Rico talking about he wants to run the Dome, and I feel like that'd be a huge challenge for him. I felt like, you really got to whip it in there and fling the car in there. So you really got to have a lot of wheel input. And I just don't know, if it's a good idea, but, he is a popular guy. And I got to give out a shout out to Buckeye Bitcoin before 8:32 p.m. He sent a super chat for $4.99. So I appreciate that, man. I didn't give you a shout out earlier. What's your long-term goal with like how many World of All Championships is enough for David Gravel? Good question. And hopefully Carter could pull some of these questions up because some are from YouTube, some are from Facebook, and definitely be cool to get them up on the screen. But I don't know. I don't think I have a number on championships or wins. Definitely wanted to get to 100 wins in my career, and luckily was able to do that. But definitely want to get in the top 5 on all-time wins list. I feel like that would be very, very cool, and it's definitely very realistic. So it'd be really cool to be up there with Mark Kinser, Steve Kinser, Doug Wolfgang, and Danny Lasowski, and Donnie Schatz, and Sammy Swindell. So, yeah, we'll see. But you are the brand. Yeah, Cole, I understand that. And I just be curious, like how many late model fans buy my shirts or buy my shirts at Charlotte when they could, buy anything. That would be, is there cross pollination or not? That's my biggest question. You could handle a late model. You did excellent in the Silver Crown car. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, we had a great Silver Crown run. It was a one and done, but I saw Parker Price Miller one year at Charlotte. He did the late models, and he qualified really well, and then came to the first lap of the heat race, got in dirty air, and was like fish out of the water and really struggled in dirty air. So I know I could probably do fast laps by myself, but the big question is, could you race around guys? when those guys do it like 120 times a year because these guys never sleep. Late model guys are always racing. So who knows? David Gravel is the dirt race. Is the dirt racing version Smile More? David Gravel is the dirt racing version Smile More. Maybe reword that for me. Cody says Star Trek or Star Wars. Never was a big fan of either of them, but if I had to pick one, I guess it'd be Star Wars. How have you done adjusting your life since you lost your father? I did not lose my father. He had a heart attack, but he did not pass away, thank God. So he is still here. Have you thought going to the Truck Series in NASCAR? Brett Fuller. No. I've kind of been there, done that, learned the business a little bit. Right now I could race a sprint car, not have to bring money to the table, and make a very, very good living. If Rick Hendrick called me or Roger Penske or Joe Gibbs, okay, maybe that's a different story. But really, top sprint car drivers make more of a living than truck guys and even nationwide guys nowadays. So not really a viable option for me. I'm too old now, and I feel like that time has passed. Timing just didn't work out good for me, I'm happy where I'm at. Dustin Miller says, ever rip Allen and Ginter? I have not, but I seen that just dropped here this week and see they have a lot of crazy products in there and have random autos of famous people from TV shows, actors, and stuff like that. So who is your favorite sprint car driver? What did that say? We got a lot of chats coming in. Who's your favorite sprint car driver in any era? It's hard to pick just one, but I would say definitely Doug Wolfgang, Lance Dewease, Mark Kinzer. Yeah, I think those are a couple of my top, obviously the big three with Donnie, Sammy, and Steve were, a lot of people's favorites, and I freaking respect the crap out of them. But it was just so cool to see like what Mark Kinzer accomplished in such a short time, won like literally everything, and then kind of just disappeared from the sport. So pretty impressive, what Mark Kinzer did. And obviously Doug Wolfgang didn't really commit to the World of Outlaws much, but how many wins he has, and then having the winningest season ever in a sprint car, pretty awesome. And how good of a fabricator he was, how good he was working on race cars. He was into fitness really big. He was just I think a guy that everybody respects. Let's see. Okay. Donnie Schatz and Sheldon Hanschild. Where are these guys racing next year? Everybody has like a really good understanding, I feel like, where Sheldon's going, but they haven't announced it yet. So maybe it's not happening, guys. Who knows? But I feel like mostly everybody knows what they're doing by PRI show, and things get announced then. So hopefully we'll see where Donnie ends up and where Sheldon ends up. I get probably 5 to 10 texts and calls every week if Donnie's going to be my teammate at Big Game Motorsports, and I don't think that's happening. So I don't know where he's going to end up, but he was just on with the Chaz and kind of, he kind of has an understanding where he's going to be. So I hope we have Sheldon and Donnie back on the World of Outlaw Tour because I feel like we really need that. Don is gonna be in a family-owned car. Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. Let's see. What did Cody say? Cody said Mark Kinzer sure liked. Okay, no, that's what cut his career short. Wow, nice. How is it becoming a villain? You seem like a nice guy, so is it tough? I feel like me and Kyle are good. I don't think we have any dramas between us. Gets heated up in racing. He knows where I stand, and I know where he stands with it. It's kind of more than just on track things that boiled things over. So I feel like that's been hashed out, and all good. He still calls me for opinions on what next car you should buy. Anyone that is fast and has had success in a 410 is a great driver. Yeah, I think so. Your favorite Trading card you own, not Broncos. I at a card show last year, I bought a dual autograph card of Ken Griffey Jr. and Ken Griffey Sr. number to, I believe, 10 out of 10, and it's in a PSA slab. It's only an 8, but I felt like it was a very, very cool card. So I think that's the coolest card I have right now. Sheldon's going the 18, and with the World of Outlaws, yeah, I mean, that's what I think's happening, but it's not official till it's official. Colt Hawk says, does Cody really fight with High Limit? Cody fights with anybody that he has a problem with, if it's the World of Outlaws, if it's a team member, a driver, I feel like he's always going to approach somebody when he has a problem with them. And that's rare nowadays. But if he has a problem with High Limit or something they did, he's going to let them know. And if he has a problem with somebody with the World of Outlaws, he let them know as well. So I think it goes anyways. Brett Fuller says, do you own any Kurt Busch cards? Actually, I do. I believe a fan gave me some a couple years ago, I believe. But also, I got to give a shout out to some fans. I've gotten some slabs from fans, gotten some packs from people. Somebody gave me 2 Tom Brady rookie cards that were in nice shape. And if you're the one listening right now that gave it to me, thank you. I went and graded those cards, and one got an 8, one got a 9. So I thought that was awesome. So, yeah, thank you to every fan that's supported, my hobby and my sickness, and I try to reciprocate when I can. David, we need some Cody Jacobs merch. That's what his girlfriend, has told him that he needs to make some merch. He's talked about it, but he's just got to sack up and pull the trigger. So, Cody, I know you're watching. Sack up. Let's get some shirts done. People are buying them. They're in the section wanting to buy. All right, guys, who do you want on the show? Who do you want to see next? I'm hoping we could get Rico. I hope we could get Brad Sweet. I would love to have Brian Carter on. I would love to have like a old school guy, like a Carl Kinzer, Mark Kinzer, or Doug Wolfgang. I think that would be very cool. I'd love to have Buddy on. I'd love to have Carson Macedo, maybe Donnie Schatz. Yeah, we could have Cody, but these crew chiefs, they clam up. They need to have a little liquid courage to open up. So, yeah, we'll see. Maybe we could have a couple crew chiefs on here talking. When we're talking about crew chiefs, I want to give a shout out to Ricky Warner. If you saw on his wife's Facebook, he had some surgery done, and thinking about him, all well wishes to our modern day Carl Kinzer, and praying for a speedy recovery for Ricky. Definitely want to see him at the racetrack soon. That's for sure. Buddy and the Carson brothers. I'm hoping you're thinking the Macedo brothers. Davey Brown and Lance Lewis. I don't know if Davey Brown could get her done. Maybe, maybe not. Kyle Larson be cool. I've had Johnny Gibson before. Definitely could have him on again. Sorry, guys. Kyle Larson, we'll see. He might say no to me now, but maybe not. I think it'd be good to people would want to see us talk about things and hash it out maybe publicly. But yeah, we had to dust up and all that. Yeah, Sammy Swindell, that would be a long interview. Shout out to Sammy that he'd kick my ass if he had my race car. That's for sure. He's always got good one-liners. Joey Saldana would be cool. Jacob Allen I've had on before. The Chaz I could have on. How about like the Chaz and Dirt Tracker at the same time, or Jeremy Elliott, and they could have them like, bickering at each other. Hey, David, I remember we hung out at Kern. You said you didn't know who Ghost was. Remember, I have the 2014 GTR. I'm going to sell it. I would want you to drift it before we sell it. All right, man, I'll drift that thing. Yeah, I'd like to see you and Larson make amends. How long do you see yourself full-time racing? Did Brad's retirement surprise you? After his Eldora crash, definitely did not surprise me. I felt like he was at the end of his career with all he's doing outside the race car with the series and racetracks and all that stuff. So wasn't surprised. I don't want to race forever. I don't want to race till I'm an old man. I've always said I wanted to race till 40. So I'm 33. So that's 7 more years. And it could be less. It could be more. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see where it takes us. But right now it's really, really good. These past 3 seasons, has been, really fun. And yeah, definitely. Hopefully, we keep that up and kind of have a Donnie Schatz, Brad Sweet dynasty run here and continue to have a lot of success. Man, guys, my nose is a wreck. Hopefully, nobody gets this strand. Whatever I got, it's definitely viral. Went through the whole house. It is not fun. Anthony Macri, yeah, that would be good. Do you have any prize picks or that type of parlays? No, I stay away from gambling. I do fantasy football and trading cards. That's enough. Yeah, it'd be good to have Garrett Williamson on. Maybe I'll have a couple rookies. Maybe Garrett Williamson and like Cole Macedo would be good to have together and stuff like that. So that's right at an hour, guys. I just want to say thank you to Marlowe's Metal Fabricating, Houston Speedway, Billion Automotive, Jackson Motorplex, PRI Show, Simpson Racing Products. They helped me out a lot personally. Got to thank Butler Built Seats. They helped me out a lot personally. Impact Signs helped me out. And yeah, I'm having a lot of fun here. And we're going to come back next week, probably Tuesday, with a guest. We'll announce that guest probably Sunday or so and do these hopefully weekly. Tough always around the holidays, but we'll try to do these weekly. And then once this baby comes, I might not be able to do it after that, but we're going to probably do those up until then. So Dietrich boys, we'll probably have Danny Dietrich on. He always has a lot of comments to say. So appreciate all the comments, guys. Please like, share, comment in this. You could go back and watch it, whatever you want on Facebook or YouTube. And tell your friends about it. I know people are probably watching the Dome or they're out to dinner. It's a Friday night, but this is what worked for us. Again, we were all sick this week, and I'm just, getting a little bit better now, and figure it was good to get the ball rolling, guys. So thank you guys very much. Enjoy the Dome. Enjoy your weekend and Sunday football. Hope you guys make the playoffs in fantasy football. Appreciate you guys. We'll talk to you soon. Peace out.